We're going to go over how to solve absolute value equalities. I'm going to show you two examples and a couple of other things to watch out for. We're going to use 4 steps every time we do this process. So step 1 is to isolate the absolute value. In this example, the absolute value is not isolated, so we're going to divide both sides by -3. We get absolute value of r plus 4 equals 7. That's step 1. Step 2, rewrite the absolute value problem as 2 equations without an absolute value. One just repeating exactly what you see but no absolute value bars, and another one equaling the negative of the other side. That means multiply it by -1. We're done with step 2. Step 3, solve each of the 2 new equations. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. We get r equals 3 on one of them, and r equals -11 on the other one. Now we're not going to box both of these up and say we're done, because there's a very crucial step, that's step 4, that says we have to check. Because in these kinds of problems, we might have 2 solutions, we might have 0 solutions, or we might have 1 solution. You do absolutely have to check. Hey, absolutely. So we check in the original equation, in the original question, -3, and then plug in 3 for r, plus 4, and the question is that equal to -21? We get -3 times 7, because absolute value of 7 is 7, and that is equal to -21. So now you could box that up. And now let's check for -11. Is that equal to -21? That's the question. Absolute value of -7 is 7, and that is equal to the other side. So you box that up. We're done with step 4. Example 2. Isolate the absolute value. Okay, it's not by itself, so we make it by itself by multiplying both sides by -1 or dividing by -1, either way. So this becomes positive. So we get absolute value of 2x plus 7. I just like to have that on the left side, but it doesn't matter. Equals -3x minus 2. Distribute that negative. We're done with step 1. Step 2, rewrite as 2 equations, no more absolute value bars. One, exactly what you see. The other one by negating the other side. 2x plus 7 equals, when you multiply the other side by -1, you get 3x plus 2. We're going to solve each of these. I'm going to add 3x to both sides, subtract 7. You get 5x equals -9. So we get x equals -9/5 on this side. And subtract 2x and subtract 2. So we get x equals 5. We're done with step 3. Crucial step, step 4. We have to check our answers. Plug into the original equation. So is 3 times -9/5 plus 2 equal to negative of 2 times -9/5 plus 7? Okay, just for sake of time, you could use your calculator or get a common denominator. Well, first multiply. You don't need a common denominator for multiplication. And then for addition, you do. And you're going to get -17 over 5 on this side. And on this side, you'll get -17 over 5 as well. The absolute value inside there will be 17 over 5. And once you multiply it by negative, you get -17 over 5. So that does work. We could box up the x equals -9/5. When we plug in 5, you're going to notice it's not going to work. So 3 times 5 plus 2, the question is that equal to the negative of 2 times 5 plus 7? And no, because you get negative 17 on one side and positive 17 on the other, that does not equal. So we're going to throw away this answer. That's called an extraneous solution. Now let's go over a couple of things that are a little bit different. Here we're going to isolate the absolute value. So we get absolute value of 5w minus 1 equals to 0. And when you rewrite it, you're only going to have one equation, because negative 0 or positive 0, they're both 0. So there won't be two equations. And you solve and you check, and when you check it'll work. You'll get 8 times 5 times 1/5 minus 1 absolute value. And it does equal to 0, so you could box it up and you're done with that. And the last one that I just wanted you to watch out for is, once you isolate this, we're going to get a negative answer on this side. So an absolute value cannot equal to a negative number, so it cannot equal to negative 3. So in here you could just stop and just write no solution. In case you don't catch it and you go ahead with the other two steps and you solve, once you check, you'll see that it's not going to work. I hope this was helpful.